I would like to introduce Dr. Sam Yang. Dr. Yang is a consultant in the Emergency Medicine Center in the Hong Kong Union Hospital, as well as the president of the Hong Kong Society for Emergency Medicine and Surgery. Dr. Yang will share with us on the topic of young emergency medicine leaders in Hong Kong. Welcome, Dr. Yang.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace, for your kind introduction. So let's see, yes. So let's begin with this first photo first. I think some of you may be very, see some familiar faces in this photo. Yeah, this photo was taken in the 1990s, and you can see quite a lot of senior doctors. I mean, for this present moment, senior doctors in the photo. But at that time, they were the young doctors in their age. And why did I show this photo? It's because these doctors are the pioneers of the EM specialties of Hong Kong, and they represent the ambitions, passion, and energy of that generation. So under their leadership, the Hong Kong Society for Emergency Medicine and Surgery was established in 1985. And also the Hong Kong JEM, the Hong Kong Journal of Emergency Medicine, was established around 10 years later, which is 1994. And quite surprising because it's not easy to establish a journal at that time. And the journal, the Hong Kong College of Emergency Medicine, was also established around 2 years later in 1996 under their leadership. And around 20 years later, the clinical toxicology subspecialty was established by a group of renowned toxicology subspecialists in 20 years later. And not only that, the training-related issues such as the A&E training, Accident Emergency Medicine Training Center, the GFS Auxiliary Medical Officer Service, and the first private emergency medicine center, which was established in Yangon in 2008, and also the hyperbaric oxygen chamber service. So what we have now doesn't come from nowhere, but from our predecessors who have been through our age, and the results of unfailing efforts of all the EM doctors who contribute their precious time and effort when they were young. So you can see the young doctors are our future. And in our college, we have almost 800 fellows and trainees. And among them, around half of them are from the young doctors, which include the young fellows and the trainees. So every year, there's a conferment ceremony. And every year, trainees become fellows. So when the trainees receive their fellowship award from the president, well, it signifies the end of the specialist training, which may be 6 years in length. But more than that, does it mean just an end of it, or is there anything more? Well, actually, it's the beginning of another chapter of our life. So our life in career, career in the emergency medicine, and another chapter of our life, which means continuous growth in the EM. So there are many existing needs theory. The most popular one is Maslow hierarchy of needs. And apart from that, there's also another one which is called the ERG theory, which was established by Professor C.P. Alderfer, which is an American psychologist. And he incorporated his own theory into the Maslow theory, which includes the existence part, which reflects the safety and physiological needs of our needs, and the relatedness, which includes the social and the interpersonal relationship, and the growth, which means the continuous growth of self-actualization and of the self-esteem. So by the time when you become a fellow, is there any plan for you, or do you think you can do more instead of just completing the fellowship? Yeah, we have. By the time I became a fellow, I actually don't have any plan, to be frank. but I feel that I'm deficit in various fields. Yes, I'm EM specialist, but because I think most of the trainees or the young fellows have this experience. You put a lot of time into studying, into training. So you feel that you are incomplete in other field. You feel that you need to fill up, some missing parts of yourself. So at that time, I feel that I have an urge to find back myself, to learn more in other field rather than EM. So I joined up the Red Cross, and I took up the training course, the impact course, and also the ERU training course in Japan as well, very luckily. And to my surprise, I met Dr. Seal in the course. He was not the president at that time. He's not the president of the Hong Kong CM at that time. And also I met Professor Zhao, who was the Dean of Faculty of Hong Kong U Medicine in 1995 to 1998. And I learned a lot from them through talking to them and also attending the workshop. And I also have the honor to attend the Mayo Clinic in Boston, which is the multidisciplinary simulation center. And then I became a facilitator in the simulation training. And that leads to my way to teaching in the future. And also, as I said just now, I feel rather incomplete. So I also want to fill up some weakness in my part, which is the research. So I took up the master course in biostatistics and epidemiology, and it gave me an opportunity to explore the interest in this topic and develop my interest in EBM and become a teaching and tutor in the EBM and also the literature appraisal workshop in the coming years. Apart from that, I also fulfill my dream of taking part in the GFS, which was my goal for a few years before I became a fellow. And the kind of a life in the GFS is rather different from that in the A&E department. And you also need to overcome the difficulty of taking a flight without having a time goal, and it's a kind of a challenge for me at that time. And after that, in 2004, the Young Fellows Chapter, together with other Fellows Chapters such as Women's Fellows Chapter and Private EM Physician Chapter, was established in 2014 under the guidance by Dr. Ho. And I had the honor to be one of the founding committee members at that time. And the chairman of the committee at that time was Dr. Geoffrey Zhao. And under his leadership, we are able to hold a couple of activities such as wine tasting workshop and also cocktail production workshop, which is quite interesting. And this helped us bring together the young fellows and also help us to convey the message, the voices of the young fellows to the college. And 3 years later, was lucky to become the chairperson of the Young Fellows Chapter. And also under the leadership of Dr. Ho, we were able to organize the EM Trainees Network at that time as well. And these are my team members at that time. And since 2018, we are able to join to hold the Hong Kong Taiwan EM Exchange Forum since in the year of 2018. And every year we have this exchange forum, and we also visit the Taiwan hospitals for quite a number of visits, for quite a number of times. And we learned the difference in the healthcare system in the two localities. And this really gives us wide exposure to different practice. And we also given the opportunity to have a section in the EM trainee induction course, the trainee induction program since 2019, And our delegates from the EM Trainees Network and also the Young Fellows chapter will share the experience of working in the EM, and so as to introduce the life of EM to the newbies in the EM specialty. And there are also the voluntary medical field work talk in MSF and Red Cross, and also visits to GFS, so as to widen our trainees and the fellows their field of view and to enhance their interest in areas other than the EM. And apart from that, we also take part in the HA Career Talk and the Hong Kong Medical Association Career Talk, which tries to interest the medical students and the interns and try to increase their interest in the EM. So do you think you are prepared for the beginning of the new chapter of life? Is there anything you need to do, or do you think that it is a good way to pursue your further career in EM? So actually, there's nothing you need to do at this moment. It is attitude that matters the most. The passion for the EM doesn't come from nowhere. It has to be that you need to put on effort, to put in time into the EM. So when you get involved in the specialty, you start to feel that you be fond of this specialty. And exploration, well, the emergency medicine is a very interesting specialty because our field is not just limited to work in the room, in the resuscitation room. Apart from that, we also have various other different kind of interesting outdoor or the indoor activities such as hyperbaric oxygen, wilderness medicine, or even the aviation medicine such as in GFS. So you have plenty of opportunity to explore different kinds of interests. And the exploration is not just within the same hospital, it can be inter-hospital or inter-specialty or even internationally. So the other part is to set up a goal for you. So after years of development into the EM, when you go deeper, you probably will find some gaps that you need to fill up. And by just focusing on the gaps, you find that you have a goal to achieve. And it can provide a direction in your career and keep you motivated. And of course, it needs to be realistic and specific and measurable. And when you have a goal, it's not just have a plan, but of course you need to have action. Any plan that without action is just meaningless. So the most important thing is that when you got a plan, take action, not just plotting all the time. And teamwork, we need the teammates to support us so that we won't feel alone. And then there's someone besides you to offer you a helping hand when you encounter difficulties. And at the same time, there will be conflict when you are working with people. And we also learn how to deal with the conflict management and find a common goal so that we can achieve the goal that we together have. And burnout, as Dr. Wu has mentioned just now, our life is not just a flat line. Okay, there are ups and downs. And the downs can be, of course, if you're lucky, the downs can be just last for a couple of days or weeks. But sometimes it can be a couple of months or even the years. So you need to take a balance. Okay, sometimes if say you encounter difficulties, then you can tilt the balance more to the difficult side, such as your family or say your sometimes can be financial. So you need to take the balance to that prospect, to that aspect. But if say when you have deal with that difficulty, then you can go back to the normal and then back the balance can shift back to more on your work. So it's kind of it's not a static thing, but a kind of dynamic way to handle your life. And of course, we need to support from the seniors. Okay, the experience is very important. You can't just grow from nowhere without experiencing the events. So you need to learn the knowledge, skills, and the practice on your own. And you, of course, you're given the opportunity to achieve that. And support and guidance from the seniors is very important because the young doctors, we have the passion and also energy, but the guidance will mean that we won't waste too much time in finding a wrong direction. And finally, of course, the passion and satisfaction is something that need to be injected by the senior to keep them motivated. And I'm very lucky that I have a lot of good seniors during my way to be, I mean, to the stage that I have so far. And lastly, yes, this is the photo that was taken 30 years ago. And now we have another group of new doctors coming in. And of course, they are in different eras, but there's one thing in common, is the passion for the EM. Okay, so thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yang. I particularly really love the photo. The photo that 2 slides ago, where the old photo was, I remember seeing the young Dr. Wong Tai-wai, and I personally was really honored to talk by him before he retired, and it was just so amazing to see that he was young once, as you said, he was young once, and he did things when he was young that led us to where we are today. So I would like to again check the chat to see if there are any questions. Feel free to type it out in the chat box from the floor. And meanwhile, I do have one question, cliche, but I think hopefully insightful for us. If you are to give one piece of advice to yourself in your 20s, okay, might it be 10 years ago or 20 years ago, what might that one piece of advice be?
Well, I think the advice is that to instead of that is mentioned in one of my slide. Instead of planning all the time, you need to go for action. Okay, there are a lot of plans in your mind. There are a lot of different kind of ideas and dreams that you want to pursue, but if you don't ever take out a step forward, then you will just standing in their own ground and without making any progress. So if say there's one piece of advice that I want to change, and I think that will be that's the most important thing. But of course, to the young doctors, I think the one of the most important thing is that the passion. Okay, if you want to. It depends on how you think. Okay, what you did depends on how you think. If you, or say the attitude that you have, if you keep a passion for your future, then you will achieve a lot of things. But if you just if you think is that's enough for me, then nothing will everything will just remain status quo.
Got it. Wonderful. Thank you. Are there any questions from the floor or from other co-hosts? Okay,